All right, Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Monday vlog. It's been a cold, bitter week. Don't know about you, but out here we got, I would say, probably about 7 inches of snow or so on the ground.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
And I forgot to mute my phone, so let me go ahead and mute my phone so I don't have any notifications popping up on my phone. It's just snow on the ground. I would say we probably got 12 inches or more total between what was melting as it was coming down, and then we had a warm up, it melted some, and then had more snow, so on and so forth. We still got, I would say, maybe 2-3 inches still on the ground in different places, some a little bit deeper, like in the shade. Now everything's starting to ice over because, like I said, we had a couple warm days. I got water back on, and then a couple days later, my pipes froze again, not inside, outside. Then it warmed up again. I had water again for I think like a day and a half. Then they froze, had water again for the last couple days, and then woke up this morning. Last night we got down to like 0 again. So right now I currently have no water. Outside pipes are frozen again. So probably should have taken all that piping that I bought, and I probably should have redone the line. But as we know, I had so many irons in the fire this year and last year, and end of last year, trying to get the tiny home done, which I'm still ways off from that. That was more important than the water line. If I got to live without water, I live without water. So this upcoming week, we have warmer weather. We have an ice storm tonight into tomorrow. Then we got 2 or 3 days of rain coming up, but we're supposed to be above freezing, minus tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last below freezing day, then we're above freezing. Am I going to get anything done? Probably not. Later on this week, I have my inverter that's supposed to be here. The famous inverter that keeps taking forever and ever and ever that I should have had last year, now with another company. Like I said, Steve found. I was supposed to already have it from this company, and it got delayed, and now they were telling me February. Well, then it got shipped out, so it's supposed to be here sometime later this week. So hopefully that comes in. Don't know if it will. That's the last piece I need to be able to use my batteries. Can I charge the batteries? No, because I still don't have a generator. Steve would have to fix my generator, but the different parts, he said it's cheaper to buy the parts than try to rip everything apart. It will take him more time and everything like that. He doesn't want the headache. And if he's going to spend all that time, it's going to cost me more than just buying the parts. So it's a couple $100 in parts. So it's not like buying a $1,000 generator, but I just don't have that money right now. So for those of you that have reached out to see if anything's happening with the tiny home, nothing has happened with the tiny home. The 8 bags of insulation are still sitting there. The tongue and groove is still sitting there inside the shed. The only thing outside the shed is the galvanized tin. And that's because it got wet the day I took it up there. And I don't want to take any moisture inside of the shed because I don't want to bring new mold or mildew spores and get that reactivated after I sprayed everything, got that cleaned out. So I have not done that. This past week, I did work 1 day clearing branches from the solar area, from the trees I chopped down. That's going to be a long process, but that's something I could do in the wet, in the cold, in the snow. I have a full bodysuit, so I'm able to do that. I also spent all day yesterday cutting firewood. Found out that cutting frozen sub-zero hardwood dulls a bunch of blades, so I went through a lot of blades cutting firewood, but I needed firewood because I'm burning through firewood like crazy. As we know, this place isn't insulated. It's 2,100 square feet. I have holes all over. You can see that board right there. I screwed a board to the wall there where that hole was. I never got around to doing that one. Over by the door, I had that big opening where that brown trim is right next to the door. I put that up. And then in my bedroom, I put up another board trying to stop as much cold air as I can from coming in. But you can still stand anywhere by any of the walls and feel the cold air coming in because the ceiling's not insulated as well. So it's going to be a great relief breaking this cold snap after today. I won't be burning through so much wood. My wood pile is dwindling because Steve has come and got some wood from the homestead for his place because he's burning through a bunch of wood. And yeah, I'm not going to have much left. So him or me or both might end up having to call firewood companies and order firewood because I don't have enough laid out. I had enough for me. I wasn't planning to help and supply Steve. He's buying it, so I'm not just giving it to him. I've given him some wood, but he did buy a cord of wood from me. So that helps me out with my budget a little bit. But, you know, that's what you got to do, homesteading with neighbors. Hello, DR from Oklahoma. How are you doing? Hopefully you didn't get the bitter cold like Iowa. Oklahoma. I know Texas got a little bit, but not as bad as several years ago. But yeah, so that's what you got to do neighborly. That's what you got to do friend-wise, family-wise, whatever. Community-wise. We don't want to be a society. We want to be a community. You help each other. My neighbor next door, she got her car stuck, called me, woke me up the one morning. Well, I say morning. It was afternoon for me. And told me she was stuck, but she would have the car out the way. So I didn't think anything of it. Waking up, my mind was foggy. 2.5 hours later, I go homestead, and they're sitting in the car still. So I'm like, if I would have known they would have been sitting there all that time, I would have got dressed and went over right away. But I had breakfast, stuff like that, did my thing because I didn't think there was any rush. Got there, offered to help again. They denied the help again. Said the tow truck was like 20 minutes around the corner. So got in, fed the animals. That takes me about 20, 30 minutes. Graining the animals, getting the animals taken care of. And come back out. The tow truck's there, or finally pulled up. Another neighbor pulled in, wanted to show me some photos of tracks to see what animal I thought it was. And was showing me different things on his phone. Tow truck got stuck. So I used my truck. The tow truck was hooked to their car. So I not only pulled them out, but I pulled the tow truck as well. So I pulled both of them out at once. So my little GMC Canyon that everybody makes fun of for all my heavy loads from Colorado, all the wear and tear I do, I just look at people overseas. Look at in the like Egypt and Nigeria and India. They do all these things. I watch American Race. You watch these tiny little trucks doing all this work. Americans just, they don't try any of this. I guess I'm just stupid enough to try it. That's why I crap my frame. That's why I go through these tires and stuff like that. But I get the job done with the tiny truck. So instead of spending an extra $50,000 on a big truck, I have a lot of repairs for $50,000 and still have a truck. But yeah, so this past week, didn't have any issues truck-wise. I did buy tires, like I said, which was good because I needed tires for the snow, for pulling them out, things like that. Because of all that, I'm not sure if over here on my board, I decided to keep my New Year's New Goal board over here. I don't think I'm going to get to the homestead by April because I don't think I'm going to have the money because now that I had to fix tires and buy new tires and everything else, my money's going to be delayed and I still got to buy more batteries. I got to buy a generator or get my generator fixed if it's even fixable. And that's another thing with my generator. If I give Steve a couple $100 to order the parts, there's no guarantee that the generator still runs because I don't know why it died back years ago. It just stopped working. So I threw it to the side, never did nothing with it. So that's another thing. I don't know if I want to put a couple $100 in to try to get the generator fixed, not knowing if it will even work. Then I might have to end up buying a $1,000 generator. So then I'm $1,200 into the next generator. But because I need all that, I need a generator for the batteries to charge them once the inverter comes in to be able to be in the shed. I'm not going to have running water. I'm going to have electricity. Like I said, it's all about sacrifice. And that's one of the lows. And that's this week's topic, the lows of homesteading. One of the lows of homesteading is sacrifices. When you're a homesteader, you've got to decide what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're not willing to do, what you're not willing to sacrifice. And you look at time. I always talk about the 9 to 5. Do you want to keep wasting your time on your 9 to 5 to make that money? Well, if you do the 9 to 5 and make that money, then you can go buy a fully functional homestead. You can buy the land, the house, everything else. However, nowadays, even in this bad economy, if you look for a real homestead with a large tract of land, if you're not looking for just an acre, 5 acres, something like that, if you're looking for 50, 75, 100, 200 acres with a house on it, you're probably looking at minimum $500,000 minimum. And that depends on how the house is. Is the house in great condition? Is it a rundown house? But us homesteaders that want to homestead, that want to live the, I want to say healthier lifestyle. It's not necessarily healthier in a way. In a way it is. But we want to have it the way we want it set up. And most of us that want to homestead, just like we want to eat healthy. A lot of people want to eat healthy. You go to the store, you get a bag of potato chips for now $4 or $5. That used to be like $1.99 for a bag of potato chips. Or like I just bought cantaloupe and honeydew at $5 a tub. So now potato chips today were at $2.99 a bag. So they've come down, but the cantaloupe and honeydew is still at $5 a container. So they never make it easy to be healthy. They never make it easy to live a good life, a good lifestyle. Otherwise, chips would be more expensive to destroy your body, and vegetables and salads and stuff would be cheaper. Or we could just be rabbits and go sit on the front lawn and chomp away. That'd be the cheapest. But we know that can't happen with pesticides, herbicides, everything else. And most of us aren't vegetarians or vegans. We like meat as well. I do like more veggies than anything else. I'm trying to do fruits like the doctor said. But homesteading, buying land, buying a full-fledged homestead, like I said, it's like $500,000. It's not easy to get there. You have to work a lot of hours, lose a lot of your life to have that type of money to be able to move in. Now, if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, by the time you save up over $500,000 to buy that homestead, most likely you're going to be on the 50 plus age, and you're not going to be able to do all the labor, patching fence and doing this, and then you got to hire somebody to do that, or you have to have a farm hand move onto your land to work your farm for you. Well, then, you know, is that the life you wanted? Just to see it and not be able to be a part of it. So for a lot of us out there, including me, instead of coming out with $500,000 to be able to go ahead and buy that pristine homestead with the house done, the barns done, the garage is done, the sheds done, everything done, fenced, I have to just buy land, and we have to struggle. So that's one of the big lows, is the sacrifice of not being able to be where we want to be or comfortable, you know, like here at the restaurant. I'm not comfortable here at the restaurant. Yes, I have lights, I have plumbing, not right now, but normally I have plumbing. So it's kind of like living in the city. But the sacrifice of having to drive back and forth every day, spend all the money on the tires, on the brake pads, on the wear and tear on the truck, wear and tear on me, gas, time, everything else. It's not productive to homesteading. It's one of the lows we face. Then when we get the land, if we can get a shed on, a tiny home, a camper, a trailer, then we're making that sacrifice again. Most of the time, we don't have a nice place to live. It's just a rundown shed, rundown shack, rundown camper trailer, school bus, whatever. And we have to live that way until we can better our lives, our situation. We might not have running water, like I won't when I move back into the shed. Most people don't have power. Luckily enough, I'm going to have solar. But these are the different things you got to consider when homesteading. Or those of you that live in the city and don't understand the sacrifices I make, along with all other homesteaders, off-gridders, so on and so forth. Do we have the nicest things? No. Why? Because our money goes into trying to forward our life. Now we can say, which I've had boomers say, well, if you don't buy as much Coke as you drink, then you would save all this money and be able to do all this. Well, I can say I have stopped buying Coke. There's no Coke in my house. I can't even afford to buy Coke right now if I wanted to go back to drinking Coke. That's how far stretched I am. Now, do I still go out to Colton's? Yes, I actually went to Colton's tonight when I went and did my grocery shopping. Can I cut back Colton's? Yes. Can I buy food and prepare it here at the restaurant? Yes, I can. But if you took away all your luxuries in life, then it's not really living. You're just scraping by just to get by. And I scrape by to get by with a little bit of luxury. Right now, I got running water, I got lights, and I like to go to Colton's or every once in a while get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Haven't done that in a couple weeks. And the one time me and Steve were in town, I was going to get Dunkin' Donuts, and they were closed due to the storm coming in. So I didn't even get my Dunkin' Donuts in. So we all look at it that certain people are always poor. Certain people are always rich. Certain people could do more with their money. But the lows of homesteading is you don't get to travel. Why? If you have animals, if you have livestock, you've got to be here. You can't just leave for a week. You can't leave for 2 weeks. You can't go travel. You have to be here unless you have a farmhand. If you don't have a farmhand, you need a neighbor to watch your animals. Well, they don't know what they're doing. So the animals get out when they go and open the gate. Like when Steve moved out here and he went through one of my gates, he let my cow out when my bull's out, and I chased my bull around to get him back in. If I was out on a private island or Paris, France, or China or wherever, I can't just hop on a plane and be back here to catch my bull. If something bad happened, a lot of channels don't talk about loss. There's a lot of loss in homesteading. That's another low. But if something bad happened, you're away on vacation, you get the news of it. Well, is it really a vacation at that point? No, because you're sitting there worried about your animals because they're like your family. They're like your kids. You don't want nothing bad happening to them. And all you can think is it's getting worse and worse the minute by minute, second by second that you're not there. So then you're in a rush to get back home. You can't enjoy your vacation. So that's out the door. Can you go out to the bars all the time as a homesteader? You probably can. I know there's a lot of cowboys and stuff like that go to cowboy saloons and stuff like that for square dancing and all that. That's not my forte. I'm not a drinker. I rarely drink. But that's how you got to look at it. In your sacrifices and your ups and your downs, your lows and your highs, where are you spending your money? I spend my money mainly on animal food. I spend $2,500 a month on animal food. If I go to Colton's every day of the month, one time a day, 30 days a month, that's $900. If I go to Colton's once a week, I'm happy about that. So, am I spending anywhere close to the feed? No. Buying my Coke, I was spending, I think like $250 a month on buying Coca-Cola. Is that anywhere close to $2,500? No. That's where my bulk of my money goes, is into animal feed. About $1,500 for grain and $1,000 a month in hay. And that don't include the salts, the minerals, all that. Now, I don't buy that every month. I normally buy that every 3 months. And then, of course, we all know I buy bags of carrots, bags of apples. I bought those pumpkins from the local farmer. So I don't even include all that cost, but that's where all my money gets spent. Can I reduce my animals? Yes. Um, do you have 5 kids? Are you willing to give rid of 3 of them to save on your food costs? No, they're your kids. That's why I'm not getting rid of my animals. Yes, I'm willing to sell some goats. Eventually, I'll get around to doing that when I'm at the homestead and I can meet people and say, here's the goat, yada, yada, and get back to doing that. For now, I'm stuck in this wave. Another big low from homesteading is animals. If you get into livestock husbandry, make sure my dogs aren't freezing out there. They're out there doing something you saw in the clip. They're out there eating some beef. If you have animals, a lot of people don't talk about it, me included, because I don't like talking about it. But earlier this week, after Sunday, Sweet Pea, which is one of my best goats, I got from a wonderful couple out in, I think it was Peyton, Colorado. It was one of those eastern towns in Colorado. But I got Sweet Pea, I got Thelma, and Linus. Thelma I traded out years ago, and then Linus was bought a couple years ago when I moved here, and I've kept Sweet Pea. And Sweet Pea has had triplets almost every year. She's a really good mom. You've seen her in different videos. She takes care of babies real well. She decided to have triplets on the coldest day, which I think was either Monday night or Tuesday night. We were at like 19 below with wind chill. And I went over to 3 frozen babies inside a shelter in all that hay. You saw all that hay I stuffed in there, feet and feet of hay. But when it gets that cold, there's nothing you can do unless you got a heated barn or you bring them into your house or whatever. We all know how many animals I have. I can't bring all the pregnant ones in here or this whole building be filled with animals. On top of that, today I went over and Big Mama decided last night to have her baby. And we got down to 0, probably negative with wind chill. And the baby was frozen to the ground when I got over there today. And I have not lost a baby calf in how many years? I don't even know how many years. I think it was right when I moved here in 2020. Because in transit, it messed up the cycle and she aborted the baby. Kept Hershey. Got Mama Silverton to bond with Hershey. Got a Silver Bullet that I thought was a male forever, which is actually a girl. Crippled Man, my little man, the crippled man, the brown one with the legs all messed up. Everybody told me put him down. He's still thriving. And the other little bull. So all these babies that's been born here in Arkansas, they've all made it. So just because you see homesteading channels, yeah, Scott. I've heard that too. I know, because I let my bucks and my bulls run together with the animals. Everybody says that I should do that. But with the time breeding, then that comes into the whole thing of then you need different pens to segregate them, and then it's like family. Like in the wild, the animals do well in the wild. Yes, there's a lot of loss in the wild. A lot of people don't see that as well. But for me, I just let nature do what it does. And by doing that, this is now 2023. I don't know what they barking at. 2023. Let me see if somebody's here. But it's 2023. Everybody knows I started getting my animals in 2016. They just barking at neighbors pulling out. But from 2016 to now, 2023, I have Tiny Dude. I have Baby Boy. They're the original 2 of the 3 goats that I got in 2016. Okay? We know the 3rd one got killed by the mountain lion that tried to kill me. I have Jackson. I got him, I think, like 2 months after I got those goats. After that mountain lion attack, October 13th, 2016, then I got Mickey and Minnie. We know I got Mickey and Minnie. Max was from the very first litter. I still got Max. The camels, the Zorse, the donkeys, the horses, Miracle. Not as long, but I still had them. Sweet Pea, I got back in like 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. So by me doing what I'm doing and letting nature be nature. Now, yes, people say, well, in nature, you don't have camels and Zorses and all this as one big pack. Yes, that's right. And then you got the people that say, oh, you have all these different diseases and da-da-da, and you got to have them separated in different pens. I don't do chemicals on my animals, except right in the springtime, I do worm as everything starts getting hot because of all the flies out here. In Colorado, I didn't worm any of the animals. Haven't lost any animals due to worming. What did I have issues with at the ranch? Bloating. I lost several goats due to bloating. Luckily, none of my originals. Why? Because I didn't know about baking soda. That's why I vouch for baking soda all the time. Now that I keep baking soda and trace minerals and white salt for the animals in their pen 24/7, never had a bloating issue again. Because I have hay in the pen 24 hours a day that they can eat as much or as little as they want. I don't have that issue. So by dividing the males, that's just another iron in the fire for me, because then I got to feed in this pen, I got to feed in that pen, I got to do this in this pen, got to do this in this pen, so on and so forth. And at that point, that's not enough me, because there's barely enough me to do what I'm doing now. Eventually, I'll have things better. Eventually, I'm going to have a heated barn. I'm going to do a PEX system in the walls, the floor, and the ceiling of the barn. I'm going to have a wood-burning stove or a big like boiler thing and run copper tubing. And the fire will heat all the antifreeze. I'll have antifreeze or coolant, whatever, so it doesn't crack in the winter. I don't know, DT. What did you miss? You missed everything. I've been on here for 6.5 hours. Where you been, DT? Been waiting for you. But that's where I need to be. Scott, I'm not throwing your comments aside. Yes, I should do that. Yes, a lot of people do that. It's just I don't have enough me. I don't have a wife and 5 kids to have them help. You look at all these different homesteading channels, it's either a couple or it's a couple and a whole bunch of kids, or a couple and in-laws. You know, they have a lot of hands to make light work. I don't have a lot of hands. I only got 2. The dogs got paws. They don't do nothing. The camels don't do nothing. The horses don't do nothing. I'm the only one with hands around here. So I just do what I do. The animals, like I said, you know, you can watch some of these channels and watch people go through animals day in and day out. Loss. Like I said, that's a big key of the start of this topic, was the lows of homesteading, and that's the loss of animals. If you have animals, you're going to have losses. So realize that. A sad state of affairs. Yes, it is, DT. Nothing like losing animals. It sucks. However, you got to make the best. As homesteaders, another low of homesteading is your mindset. A lot of people come into homesteading and they can't deal with the mindset that you need for homesteading. When you get into animals and have animal loss, you've got to be mentally strong to deal with it. You can't, just break down and be down for the next 6 months in mourning, because potentially you could have another loss like this. This week I lost 3 baby goats and a calf. I don't know how many baby goats right now running around. I still have more goats that are due. I'm hoping they don't have the babies tonight or tomorrow night, or I could potentially have more loss, but all these babies have survived. When you have the loss of the babies, you have to utilize your money. Now, what do I mean by that? You can't say, I lost babies, dig a hole, make a grave site, and that's a loss. Takes over a year to have calves coming, because after they have calves, they have so many months till then they get bred. Then it's like 8-9 months, whatever their gestation period is. I don't time all that. That's why they go all throughout the year. I have spring babies, summer babies, fall babies, winter babies. But instead of wasting that resource that my cow has ate all that extra food, cost me all that extra money, I don't want to have a total loss. So what do? I brought the baby home along with the baby goats. I know a lot of you don't want to hear this, but this is the life cycle. This is an ecosystem in nature. If something happens in nature, they don't just have piles of babies laying there. Baby squirrels, baby rabbits. Ecosystem takes care of it. So what do I have? I have 4 Anatolian shepherds that I'd rather not be feeding dog food to, dog chow, because it's not healthy for them. So they're out there having a treat right now, consuming a loss. So that's one of the mindsets you need as a homesteader, that when you have a negative, you have to turn that negative to a positive, or the negatives will add up where you don't want to homestead anymore. Another big one that a lot of people can't deal with, homesteading, one of the big lows. I would say two of the top lows is going to be loneliness and singleness. A lot of people can't deal with being by themselves. A lot of people can't deal with living way out in the woods like I do. Not right now because I'm in the restaurant, but at the ranch. No cell service, barely any internet, not able to see anybody, hour away from town, just you and your thoughts. Arkansas has bugs, so there's plenty of noise here. Colorado, go up in the mountains of Colorado. It's dead silence. You don't hear nothing. If you hear some coyotes and stuff, that's about all you hear. No bugs, no nothing. Just dead silent in the winter. A lot of people can't deal with the low of being by themselves, being in the quietness, being in the woods where you hear creaks and cracks and stuff like that once in a while. Or Arkansas where you just hear bugs and things thrashing in the leaves, branches moving. You have no idea what's out there. And then you got the singleness. And that's being single as a homesteader, because you have to find somebody that wants to live that lifestyle, somebody that wants to live that far away, someone that values and can deal with that loneliness of just you two. Or if you have kids, with the kids. A lot of people can't deal with that. That's a lot of loneliness, a lot of hardship. The animals trying to afford the land, trying to afford to get utilities, trying to make a life better than what you had in the city. Because we're all brought into these cities and showed the luxury way of life, flicking a light switch, flushing a toilet, having a freezer, having a fridge, having a microwave, to try to go away from all that, to try to have a healthier, more soulful type of life. Because living in the city, you think you're living. You go out to the bars, you go to fancy restaurants, you hang out with all your friends, but then something goes wrong in life. You get laid off. Your house catches fire. You're in a bad accident. and all those people disappear. If you don't continue that trend of society, then they still go to the bars. They find their next friend. That's their high. And then you're stuck with the low. And in the homesteading world, in the off-grid world, the prepper world, there's a lot of lows that you have to deal with. But it's all about the sacrifices on what you're willing to give, what you're not willing to give, and how low you're willing to go. Can I be in the homestead right now? Make a TP tarp hobo tent like I did when I lost everything and became homeless in the beginning before I even started this channel? Yeah, I could go back to that. Do I want to? No. Could I have moved into the shed a while ago? Yeah, I didn't want to. I want at least power. It's all about what you want and how low of a low you can tolerate to get there. However, I will tell you, living at my house, how many videos did we see? Yes, I lost animals there. I lost animals at the ranch. I lost vegetables. I had flooding in my house. I had things go wrong. The solar went down, internet go down, all those different issues. But look at the different videos when I flushed my toilet in my upstairs, when I finally had plumbing in my upstairs of the house and didn't have to go downstairs to go to the bathroom. Look at the videos when I built my bed where I could look out across the mountainscape and how wonderful that was. Look at my entire Hooger culture concrete bed garden that I had right on the driveway. And then I turned the upstairs bathroom into a greenhouse where I was eating green beans and stuff throughout the year. Things that takes a lot of sacrifices, a lot of lows to get to. But in all those lows and anguish, you find those high peaks that forever in my mind, and if not in my mind, I'll be able to look back at YouTube and be able to see my life unfolding and see those high points, like I just said, some of them, and come into Arkansas and so on and so forth. When I get to the shed, whether it's April, which I highly doubt, June, which I highly doubt, even this year that I highly doubt right now, unless something changes. But when I get to the shed and I'm on the homestead, that's going to be a highlight. Even though I'm not going to have running water, it's not a low anymore because I'm not stuck in a transitional period. When I finally get a house built in several years from now, and I move into the house and I'm able to look out my front door and see the camels sitting there at the fence waiting for some treats, that's going to be a high to remember. When you're in those offices and grinding away or sitting at the bars getting drunk, which I've done all that. I chased money for all those years. I find the less money you have, the more happiness you actually find. Look at how many multimillionaires, billionaires, trillionaires think they have friends, and how many of them don't have families. How many of them sit at home for the holidays alone, just like me. I sit here alone, but I have my dogs. In this life, we have to weigh the pros, the cons, the lows, the highs, and the consequences of our decisions and where we want to take our life. Like I've said all last year, I'm going to preach again this year. Do what makes you happy. Find your happiness. Don't waste a single second of your life doing something you don't like doing. If you don't like drama in the family, get away from the drama. If you don't like going to a bar, stop going to the bar. Whether your friends stay your friends or not, stop going to the bar. Go do something else. If you want to take more vacations, take more vacations. If you want to go see the world, go see the world. If you want to scuba dive, go scuba dive all the different oceans, all the different seas, the lakes, the rivers, the channels. Go explore. Because when life is over, there is no more. Something to think about, something to consider. And remember, if you want to become a homesteader, there's going to be the lows, but there's also going to be those highs and higher highs and highest highs. And how many times have I had babies born when I get to the homestead and I come and there's new babies? How many times has many had puppies? There's been some lows when I've lost some. There's been some highs when I've gained some. Been some lows when Monkey got hit by a semi out here. But there's been highs by having Max, my first puppy ever born, in my hands. It's a wonderful life. Just like the favorite Christmas movie I watch. It's a Wonderful Life. Life can look so bad, so horrible, so terrible. Things can go so wrong. You can have 3 flat tires in a week like me and then have to buy 2 brand new tires when you don't have the money. You could have a house fire. You could get laid off from work, but that's not the end of life. Life keeps going, with or without you. It's up to you to decide on your happiness. Where do you take it? Where do you go from here? I may not get to the homestead this year, but that's a goal. That's a happy thought that I'm going to be there at some point. Do I let that take me down? No. Am I still going to work on the tiny home? As much as I can. I still have material in there. As soon as the weather clears, I'm going to start working on it. So that way, when I have the money to finish, when I have the money for a generator, when I'm able to finally get over there, it's ready for me. Be proactive today and gain something tomorrow. If you sit around the couch all day, you have nothing to look forward to tomorrow. Think about it. Do something. And with that, that's the end of this week's rant, talk, speech, vlog, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to finish this cold coffee. I'm going to have to throw it in the microwave. Lay by the fire because as a low, the wood stove's the only thing I have in an insulated building. And I'm sleeping on the couch because it's too cold in my bedroom because I can't keep this building warm enough. As you can see, hoodie, long sleeve, t-shirt, lots of layers just to stay warm up in here. But with the colder temperatures breaking, I'll be able to get it warmer in here, and then I'll be back to comfort. But then again, that's another low, a sacrifice I'm making to be able to go where I want to be. So with that, remember, live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. I appreciate everybody listening, being a part of this. And I hope your journey blooms just as well as mine. Take care. I'll see you guys next time.